Morning, gentlemen. Happy to be here with you this morning. I will tell you why I'm here. I'm amazed how God works in my life, and I have no business doing half the stuff that I'm doing, but I find myself here because of one of your alumnus. His name is Tom McAllister. He's the Dean of Student Life at Belmont Abbey College, and I have to tell you, he is one of the finest men that I know. He is an extraordinary man of faith. His spirituality is inspiring. He's intelligent, sharp guy, great interpersonal skills, great husband, great father, and I just think the world of him. And he graduated from here. So he told me that all of you, if I want more like him, I got to come down here and talk to you. So that's why I find myself here this morning. And I asked him, I said, well, I can talk about a lot of things. What do you think in this 15 minutes I should be saying? And he said, well, talk about sport. Everybody here, for the most part, has an interest in sport at some level. So I thought I would just share maybe two things with you that I guarantee you that if you apply what I share with you in the next 15 minutes, I guarantee you, I'm not guessing at it, I guarantee you, you will dramatically improve your performance. I'm not making it up. I'll give you very practical things on how to do it. The first one is how I approach working with athletes. Very often we separate things into boxes, so over here we're going to do some physical training, over here we're going to do some mental skills, and then maybe afterwards we're going to kneel down and say a prayer, as if all three of those things are somehow separate. Right now, at this fraction of a second, every single one of us in this room is body, mind, and soul. So to separate them out and think that we're only addressing one of them at any given moment is crazy. It doesn't work. And people say to me, yeah, but how do you do that? Like, how do you integrate this thing together? And I'll give you one example. There's many ways of doing it, but I'll just give you one example where I did it with an athlete. I was working with an NFL wide receiver. We're on an indoor facility. He's running some routes, and maybe about the 8th or 9th ball, he drops the ball. And when he drops the ball, he says a really bad word. I won't say what it was, but trust me, it was a bad word. You don't want to hear it, okay? And I kind of look at him, and I said, what did you say? And the guy looks at me, and he says, well, I dropped the ball. I said, I know you dropped the ball. I said, well, what did you say? And again, he looks at me a little sheepishly and says, well, I dropped the ball. I said, thank you, Jesus, right? He looks at me like I've hit him over the head with a 2x4, and he goes, well, why am I thanking Jesus? I dropped the ball. I said, 1 Thessalonians 5:18. Be thankful in all things. You're thankful in all things. Not things that you like, not things that go your way. Like bang your head, thank you, Jesus. Win the lottery, thank you, Jesus. It's all thank you, Jesus, right? He goes, thank you, Jesus? I said, good, come on back, right? So he comes back, and you may be saying to me, well, why did I have him say that? I'm going to give you two reasons. The first one is the virtue of gratitude. We are called to be thankful in all things. Everything, no matter what it is. I'm telling you, practice this. You drive out here today and maybe you get in some traffic. Is that the first thing you think of saying? Usually not. Spill something on yourself, that's usually not the first thing you're saying. Train yourself in the smallest things to say thank you, Jesus, to everything. Now, the second reason I had him do it is purely sports performance, purely pragmatic. He's an NFL wide receiver. If he drops a ball, it's not because he can't catch. He dropped the ball for a very specific reason. In his case, and I'm watching him, the reason he dropped the ball is because he didn't get his head around. He ended up on his impulse cut, it should have been an impulse cut, and it wasn't. He planted and he swept his head around. And anybody that plays football in here knows if you sweep your head around, one, it takes longer to sweep your head around, and two, everything blurs until your head stops. Now, I'm going to look like I have a nervous tick, but here's how fast you can turn your head. That fast. And if I turn my head that fast, I know, right? But I'm telling you, you come off an impulse cut and you turn your head that fast, you've seen a ball 10 feet sooner. Which means you actually have a chance to catch the ball, because you can't catch a ball you don't see. So in this case, I said to him, tell me what happened. I don't tell him what he did. I said, tell me what happened. He says, I didn't get my hands up. That's a question mark at the end of a statement, right? That means he has no idea what happened. So I said to him, actually, you didn't get your head around. So I showed him this, I described it to him. He goes back out, he runs maybe another 9-10 rounds, he drops another ball. And I can see it. He's about to say this word again, but he stops himself and he looks back at me and I go, yeah? And he goes, thank you, Jesus? I said, good, come on back. So he comes back and I said, now tell me what happened. He said, it's exactly what you said. I did it again. I planted and I swept my head around. I said, perfect. I didn't say, yeah, you got to fix that. Perfect. You know why? Because he knew what he did. That is the key to being able to change. So thanking Jesus at that moment, the reason why it's a practical thing to do, not only a good thing to do, but a practical thing to do, it gets rid of all the garbage. Because while he's out there kicking the ground and cursing, what doesn't he know? Why he dropped the ball. And by the way, you know why he's kicking the ground and cursing out there? It's a thing called pride. I got to show you how good I am. I don't drop balls. I'm much better than this. I got to show you how upset I am. So by freeing yourself up, the thank you Jesus thing is not only the right thing to do, it frees you up to focus on actually what happened, which gives you a chance to actually change what you're doing. So I'm going to share with you 3 things. 3 keys to world-class performance. I'm talking about performing at the very highest level that any of you are capable of. It's doing these 3 things. First one is focus. Now, you've heard that word before, right? I'm sure coaches have said it to you. You need to focus. You've read it. People tell you need to focus. What does that actually mean, to focus? I will tell you what it means to most people. It means to look. Okay, I'm going to look up here at the crucifix. Can everybody see that crucifix? If you look at the nail of Christ's hand being nailed to that cross, can you tell me whether the nail is at the base of his palm or is it up a little bit in front of it? Can you tell where it is? Now, right now, were any of you just thinking of dinner tonight? Were you thinking of anything from last week? For a fraction of a second, you're like, what's he talking about? I can hardly see the nail. Okay? For a fraction of a second, you were trying to see in detail the thing I was asking you about. Every part of you, body, mind, and soul, for a fraction of a second was like trying to see the detail I was talking about. That is the key to focus. Attention to detail. The problem you have when you perform in anything is that if you're a wide receiver, how many footballs have you seen come at you? Probably thousands. If you're a baseball player, how many pitches have you seen come at you? Whatever we could pick out here, thousands of them. And after a while, they become fuzzy brown or white things that you no longer pay attention to the details. When you hear people being in the zone, that's attention to detail. There's no such magic, the zone. The zone is, I'm completely absorbed in the detail of what I'm doing. That's how I perform at a high level because I get all of me right now in what I'm actually doing. Second thing I'll share with you is awareness. Being able to feel your body and know what you're thinking. Having that awareness, you can't change anything without awareness. I've worked with golfers on the PGA Tour. I'll go out on a regulation green, PGA player, I'll put 5 balls down 25 feet from the hole on a regulation green. I'll say, go ahead, sink. Maybe, even on the PGA Tour, that he might put 1 in out of the 5, okay? I bring the balls back, I drop it about the same place. I said, okay, line up now. He's about to hit it, and I said, now wait, before you hit the ball, you gotta close your eyes. And after you hit the ball, before you open your eyes, you gotta tell me where did the ball go. Did it go left or right, far or short? Tell me where the ball went. I have never had anybody not put more balls in with their eyes closed than open. And you may say, well, how could that be? Like it's magic or something? It's not magic. Your vision takes up 70% of your attention, which means you tend to look at things, see things, not necessarily focus on them, and you can't feel what you're doing. When you close your eyes, think about putting. What are you doing? It's being able to feel the club angle in the turn of your wrist, and it's being able to feel force. You'd be amazed at how good you can get at it. And they will put more in with their eyes closed. Now, I'll ask every golfer that I've ever done this with, I'll say, what's the point of this drill? And they look at me and they say, to put the ball in the hole. No. The point of the drill is to know where the ball went. Because think about this. If you know where every single ball goes, can't you eventually put a ball anywhere you want? And that's true of any skill. It's your ability to know precisely what you did. If you know that, you are going to be able to improve anything that you're doing, master any kind of skill. For example, do you have lacrosse here? Okay. How many lacrosse, yell it out if you know, how many lacrosse balls, if I line them up side by side in front of a goal mouth, how many fit inside a goal mouth? Anybody know? No, not quite. 784. Yeah, I know. A few more, right? Can you believe that? 784 lacrosse balls fit next to each other on a goal mouth. Now think about when you're in lacrosse and you're shooting on goal. Aren't you shooting for holes? I'm going to go for the upper corner, this corner, I'm going to go for low. What if I said to you, hit number 22? Hit number 7? Hit number 33? You may say to me, well, that's impossible. No, it is not impossible. I've worked with athletes all my life. You, right now, have those skills. You could do that. You know what the problem is? You've never even thought about doing it. You never realized that you have the capacity capacity for that kind of refinement, that kind of precision in terms of what you're doing. Soccer. How many soccer balls fit across a goal mouth? Anybody know? 363. That's a lot of holes for a ball to go through, okay? Do you have that level of precision? Are you even thinking of that level of precision? But it comes back to this kinesthetic awareness, knowing where your body is in space and how you move. Third thing I'll share with you is this. You only have 100% to give. I don't know where the coaches get the extra 10%. There is no 110%. There is no secret slice under a pie. There's 100%. That's all you got, okay? And the 100% that you have, if you focus it on the task at hand, focus on the task at hand. And when I say on the task at hand, that means only focusing on what it takes to actually do the thing you're doing. So if you're, for example, a free throw, okay, on a basket, the only thing that can help you at this moment is seeing the rim and feeling your body move in space. There is not one other thing that can help you at this fraction of a second if you're going to that line. So if you put the whole 100% of all your skills, talents, and abilities, everything you have, into seeing the rim, feeling your body move in this present moment, that's as good as it gets. And I'm telling you, do those three things. Master those three things. Dramatically, you will improve your performance. That doesn't mean you can't get better by getting stronger and faster and all the other things that you can do. I'm just saying, you do those three things, you will find a tremendous improvement. By the way, not just in sports. Could be carpentry, could be music, could be art, could be anything you apply this to. It's a concept, and it applies just about to everything. And the thing I'll leave you with is this. My favorite quote, and I'm going to ask you to memorize it. It goes like this. Sport, properly directed, develops character, makes a man courageous, a generous loser, and a gracious victor. It refines the senses, gives intellectual penetration, and steels the will to endurance. It is not merely a physical development thing. Sport, rightly understood, is an occupation of the whole man. And while perfecting the body as an instrument of the mind, it also makes the mind itself a more refined instrument for the search and communication of truth, and helps man to achieve that end to which all others must be subservient, the service and praise of his creator. Now, I went to the University of Maryland where they told me my major was eligibility. You get that? You are smart people in this room, smart men. You can memorize that, and you should memorize that, because that takes sport from the most generic level and it raises it to the very highest level. This thing we call sport and play is not a distraction. It's not something we shouldn't be doing. We were made to do it. The greatest minds, the greatest people who have ever written about anything, I'm talking about Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, St. Francis de Sales, St. Augustine, Blessed John Cardinal Henry Newman. I could go on and on with the names. All of them wrote about sport. And they wrote about the importance of it. That quote, by the way, is by Pope Pius XII, written in 1949, called Sport, the Service of the Spirit. And I'm telling you, that is the message, that is the mission that all of you that participate in sport in any way should be having at the core of what you do. So my time is over. I appreciate the fact that you took the time to sit here after a long night, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. And I hope you'll come visit Belmont Abbey College, because as Tom said, I know that you are the kind of men that we would love to have at the college. So God bless you all.